coast to coast. Your face will be on street corners and in airports. Millions who didn't know you existed will now memorize this image. Women will try to duplicate your look and men will long to find you. That's the way this crazy business works. But it only works that way if we keep working. So now we need to move on to more important things. I've got something here that's much bigger than a single magazine cover. Leslie stopped staring at her picture and studied her agent. What could be bigger than this? Carly didn't keep her waiting for long. Les, I've shown the folks over at Drum Media some of your work and portfolio. They loved what they saw, and they've convinced one of their clients that you might just make the perfect girl for their next national ad campaign. In fact, after talking to them this morning, I know I can get it for you. It could make your career. We're talking numbers in the 6 and 7 figures. It could be bigger than a dozen magazine covers. Carly stopped for a moment to allow the young woman to grasp the magnitude of what she had just said. As she did, she looked down into a trusting face that still harbored a great deal of innocence. No artist could have created this woman. She was simply one of the most beautiful creatures she had ever seen. In a world full of plastic, she was the real thing. A vision of what every person thought the girl next door should look like. Carly had 100 different models, and most of them were incredibly attractive, but none of them had what this girl did. Leslie was touchable, a bit more human than all the others. There was something about her that indicated she was more than just a commodity. In 4 years of working in New York, she still came across as fresh, not cynical. This business hadn't hardened her. Just 3 decades before, Carly had been considered just as perfect. She was the hot model, the one that all the men were hung up on, and the girl who made millions for the agency. But the business of surviving on looks and nothing else had broken her small-town naivete in a hurry. She quickly discovered her face and body were nothing more than a product without a soul. It was time to drive that lesson home to this girl as well. "Your look is perfect right now," Carly explained. "I know what it's like to have that moment. I had and held on to it for 5 years, starting when I was your age. So while you might want to bathe in the spotlight right now, Leslie, you can't. You have to be cold and calculating to make it in this world. That's what I learned as a model, and that's why I'm so good at peddling what you have right now. It might sound harsh, but you are a piece of meat to me." Leslie's eyes jumped from the cover to the woman. The model knew time was limited. After all, Carly had been on scores of magazine covers. She'd been the toast of New York and Paris, but now, despite a couple of facelifts, the years of living hard and on the edge showed. Her eyes didn't glow, not even now when she was about to have one of her models hit the real big time. Yet it might have been more than the years. It might have been all the sadness in her life. Carly had been married 4 times, all ending in bitter divorces. In between the marriages had been numerous affairs, so many that she had once told Leslie she didn't remember all the men in all the lines. There had been pills and booze, not to mention countless packs of cigarettes. And yet she still boasted she was one of the lucky ones. She had survived. Moving to an end table beside a leather couch, Carly picked up a 30-year-old fashion magazine. She briefly studied it before handing it to Leslie. "You know who that is?" Carly asked. Leslie took the publication, studied the cover model's high cheekbones and deep eyes before shaking her head. "That was Connie Creased," the agent explained. "We started together, and for a while she made the big bucks. So did others who shared the stable with me way back then. How well I remember the names. Melody Reeson, Fawn Telch, and Becca Woodcastle. Yet none of these girls are left in this business. When their looks played out, when age caught up with their bodies and faces, they were forced to look elsewhere. They were like you. This was their whole life, and none of them ever went after higher educations. So all they had was a face and a body. The alternatives left to them when the camera saw their age were so degrading they were rarely mentioned or seen in places other than cheap bars or motels. You need to know that, Leslie. You